One of the biggest highway projects this area has ever seen has turned into one of the biggest headaches for commuters. From a rise in collisions to an increase in stop-and-go traffic, the Across the Top project has become a major target for drivers' anger.
So tonight, CBS 13's Tony Lopez finds out what's really going on in the I-80 construction zone.
As the tall, dry grass dances in the breeze, the signs remind drivers of the slow waltz up ahead.
It's a mess. It's really a big mess.
You know it well by now, the Interstate 80 construction zone. Now, in a perfect world, this is how traffic is supposed to move. But it's been anything but a perfect commute for anyone traveling through what's known as the Across the Top project. A 10-mile stretch on I-80 from the Sacramento River Bridge eastbound to Watt Avenue in Sacramento County, where work has been underway since 2011 to repave the highway and add carpool and auxiliary lanes.
We're trying to be the least intrusive to the actual traveling motorists during those peak commute hours.
They might be trying, but Caltrans can't ignore drivers' frustration and confusion. Neither could we when we started getting so many emails. What is going on with that mess, viewer Russ Sergeson emailed to ask. Another viewer, Chris Hefner, wants to know, why is this taking so long and why aren't there more people working on this? Let's start there. First off, Caltrans isn't doing the actual work.
All of the work is contracted out. Caltrans doesn't actually do the construction on the construction projects. The
$133 million roadwork project is being done by C.C. Myers, a Rancho Cordova-based company known for tackling huge jobs. But Caltrans is the supervising agency. It calls the shots. So where are all the workers?
When is the work actually being done?
Well, if you go up here on eastbound 80, just after you cross the Sacramento River, you can see that folks are out there actually doing some concrete demolition work. Strengthening the shoulder.
We went out several times over the last month and did find work being done. But it is tough to see from a driver's vantage point. Here's someone picking up cones. Here's another guy doing some digging. Well, we dug some more. There is some heavy equipment on the move and more heavy-duty work being done. But plenty of machinery sits idle. Caltrans says because the project is so spread out, drivers won't always see people working.
Keep in mind 10 miles is a long length. You're not going to see everyone that's going to be involved during the daytime. There is ongoing nighttime work that happens as well.
Here's some of that nighttime work. Things are happening, but again, the actual work zones are sporadic. Caltrans tells us part of the reason crews aren't working around the clock, money.
We're also trying to keep the costs down on this project, so if we were to do something like a 24/7 construction project, the labor costs would have been a lot more than what we're currently looking at.
As of right now, Caltrans says the project is on budget, but there have been added costs. Remember this mess? In April of last year, 2 miles of freshly laid concrete along I-80 had to be torn up and redone. Caltrans inspectors called it unsound concrete and made the contractor redo the work at a cost of $2 to $3 million. By the way, they're still negotiating who's going to pay for that mistake.
Despite that delay, and even though it may seem like workers aren't exactly racing to get this thing done, officials tell us this project, one of the biggest Caltrans has ever tackled, is on time.
So when will the I-80 project actually be done?
Our target date's always been for the late spring, early summer of 2016.
By this summer, late June or early July, we're told the road work will shift to the westbound side along the same 10-mile stretch. What will that look like?
There will be express lanes. It may be a different setup because the extent of the actual construction may be a little bit different.
One thing the CHP hopes will be different, it wants to see fewer accidents along the I-80 construction zone. Since Caltrans reconfigured the eastbound lanes, even though the speed limit's been reduced to 55, for many drivers, this has been a collision course. In fact, there's been a sizable jump in the number of accidents from the Yolo County line to Watt Avenue, the heart of the Across the Top project. A few examples. In records obtained by CBS 13 from the CHP, in July of 2013, there were 13 collisions before the lanes were reconfigured. 1 year later, after the lane shift, there were twice as many crashes in July, 30. In October, the year-to-year jump from 16 collisions to 34. November, 13 to 26. And January saw the biggest jump, from just 9 in 2014 to 45 in January of this year. So why the huge spike?
Our biggest problem is with inattention. People are being distracted while driving, and they're rear-ending people.
Once a collision does occur, the CHP says most drivers aren't doing the right thing when they're in the expressway. If your car is still drivable, the CHP says you should actually keep driving.
The right shoulder is 7 miles away. That's okay. Drive off, but then pull to the nearest right shoulder as soon as you find one. But you do have to let us know so that we don't think that we have a hit and run on our hands.
What drivers have on their hands? This for another year plus. Caltrans assures us,
At this point, everything looks like to be going well.
even though at times the Across the Top project doesn't look to be going at all.
Well, Tony says there is one way to remember when this project will be done. It'll be right around the same time that the new downtown arena project in Sacramento is wrapping up.